We're going to kill romanticism today. It's story time with Paul and Pook, baby.
We're going live.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Woo! Good morning, guys. What a weekend, man. What a weekend. Let me tell you my story before we get into the topic at hand, which is the book of Pook, and we are going to kill romanticism today. But yesterday I decided I'm going to go hiking. You know, I was like, kids aren't here. Nurse chick's not here. I'm going to go up to the Grand Mesa. I'm going to go hiking. I haven't gone hiking in a while. And so I decided, I also left my dog here because she's too old to go hiking. And I was like, I'm going to go do Craig's Crest, which is it's a 10-mile loop, right? And I've ran that thing twice, getting ready for the Grand Mesa Ultra a couple of years ago. So like I know that trail pretty good. So I get up there and I take a left and I start going up, up the mountain, because you can go two ways, right? You can, from the one trailhead, you go up, you go straight up the mountain, or you go and take the below trail if you go right? So I go take a left to take the high trail. Get to the top of the mountain, and I happen to notice a sign for another trail, and I've seen that sign before, but I was like, I've never been that way. I think I'm going to check it out. So I go down this other trail just to see where this goes, and I end up on the other side of the mesa after an 8-hour hike, right? And end up on the other side of the mesa, and after 13 miles of hiking, I finally make my way back to the highway, and I am way, way far away from my original trailhead. Like 8 miles. I have 8 miles between where I'm at and where the trailhead is. I was like, oh crap. So and I'm exhausted by this point, right? Like 13 miles is pretty long way to hike. And so I start hoofing it up the highway to get back to the trailhead. And I'm hitchhiking because I'm like, I need to get back to my car and I don't want to walk another 8 miles. And I had to go another 2 miles after that. And then luckily some guy pulled over and gave me a ride. And when we got up to where the trailhead, he's like, geez, dude, you would have had to like walk really far. And I'm like, yes, thank you for stopping to pick me up, man. Thank you so much. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the book of Pook, and we are going to be going over chapters 30 and 31 in the paperback today, which chapter 30 is on romanticism and obituary. And then the next one after that is let yourself fail. So romanticism and obituary is a little bit long, and then let yourself fail is relatively short. So we're going to knock out two of these today. I don't have any show notes, so we're just going to wing it, right? But here's a link. If you guys want to read along with me, this is episode 7, I think, of the Book of Pook series. And we're just going slowly through this book, right? And it's a classic book in the red pill space, if you guys are unfamiliar with it. What it is it's a compilation of forum posts from the old SoSuave forums, which was a sort of a pickup artist online forum where Rollo Tomasi got his start. And did you guys get the link? Let me know if you guys got the link. I got an error here, but then it shows up. So I don't know if you guys got it or not. Anyway, so Rollo Tomasi, the author of the Rational Male series, he used to be a moderator on the old SoSuave forums. And this guy Pook, no one really knows who he is, but that was the handle he used. And he wrote some like really profound articles on dating and relationships and on women in general, right? And so someone took all of his old posts and compiled them together into this book. And now there's actually 3 books out there. So they've turned the original Book of Pook, if you get the paperback, they've turned the original Book of Pook into Book of Pook Volume 1. And there's also Volume 2 and Volume 3, which I haven't read yet, but I do have them on my bookshelf. So they're getting in line because I do a lot of reading. Man, I'm listening to some fascinating stuff on audio. We'll probably get into more of that on Wednesday. Getting into that woo-woo stuff, I'm into that weird woo-woo stuff, guys. Anyway, so let's Before we get into romanticism and obituary, let's do some housekeeping here. Do like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sound off in the live today. All right. If any of this resonates with you, if you have some questions about it, if you have comments about it, sound off. That boosts us in the algorithm. It's also just fun interacting with you guys. And then for the love of God, send some super chats. Okay. We all know you have the money. Y'all are sending sticks of butter girl $500 super chats. Okay. I don't need that, but I will present some tatas for you if you send a $20 or better. Someone during Rule Zero this weekend sent two people sent $20 super chats. So you guys got a double dose of tatas this weekend. So God bless those guys. All right. Romanticism and obituary. Oh, and by the way, if you guys prefer audio versions of this book, it's not available on Audible, but there's a link in the description to Jack Napier's version. He's got a version of it on Gumroad. So you can get Jack's version. We'll give a shout out to Jack. Okay, so romanticism and obituary. Romanticism is an article of faith. We know what it's stuffed with: love at first sight, the carriage of frolicking courtships, prancing couples, dialogue consisting of fantastical banquets, violins and flutes, of ballroom weddings, chandeliers, strangled poetry that converts her every part into some bizarre infinitude, and of happy homes flowing with enchanting music, with 2.3 kids, 2.6 cars, 1.1 garage, and 1.4 dogs. All in all, the fountain that bubbles this vaporous romanticism is the phrase star-crossed. Romanticism is not something considered to be controlled. Rather, it is seen as something to submit to. The star-crossed love is elevated to the esteemed level known as destiny. And so this faith makes the man stuffed. These stuffed men flow airily through the world. Some pop to fall in the abyss, and they wonder why, we can't say it, we wonder why unalive is at its highest rate for young men. Others just stuff themselves more and more, so that no matter what is said to them, they are so stuffed that even the sharpest, most blatant facts bounce against their rubbery, infatuated shells. Some realize that they were stuffed and turn themselves inside out. These unfortunate few shrivel with bitterness and seek revenge with getting laid everywhere, but the rest spew out this poison and recover into the men they were. So, I mean, basically what he's talking about here is how men tend to be the romantics, right? We're the ones that, write all the love songs. We're the ones that write all the poetry. We're the ones that like love giving flowers. We love being in love. I'm in an Instagram group. Some guy added me to it. It's some kind of networking group where we can share our posts or something. I don't know. Anyway, some guy in there, I think, has a new girlfriend because he's so in love and he's like, oh, love is so great. Like, blessings to all you guys. And I'm just like, hell, bro. And it's funny because a lot of us in this space, you would think that we were jaded and we don't like women and all that kind of stuff because we're red pilled or whatever, which isn't the case. But what we've realized is that this romanticism stuff does more harm than good, right? And that's where this article comes from. It does more harm than good. It's not real, He goes, oh, forgive me, Hallmark. If I am to doubt romanticism, I may incur the wrath of all women, but make no mistake, I war with Cupid. The way to victory is not to stab the infected with the truth. They pop and fall or increase their fantasy shell even more. Therefore, let us hold up a mirror to the infected so they can see all their maladies and so will cleanse themselves of this rot. And it basically, what he's saying here, at least what I'm getting from it, this is why, like, you can't red pill your friends. You can't red pill your friends. They don't want to believe this stuff. They don't want to know the truth. They want to feel the feels. They want to go blindly Twitter pated in love with this new girl that touched their pee-pee, and they don't want to know the reality of women. They want to believe that no, she's making me wait for sex because she's a good girl and she really loves me and she's really holding out because of, she wants to make sure it's real love, right? No, she just don't like you, bro. Like, sadly to say, she didn't make Chad wait, in the Waffle House parking lot. You know what I mean? But she's making you wait. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the same girl. It's the same girl. Anyway, the virus. This hyped up romanticism can be traced to Rousseau. Is it Rousseau? I don't know. Rousseau. We'll say Rousseau. This hyped up romanticism can be traced to Rousseau. Disgusted with bourgeoisie love, he saw it as an empty emotional center of restrained, law-bound societies. He wanted to replace it with something more passionate. Before, especially aristocracy, the passion of the people was set for truth, honor, and power. This is dangerous, said Rousseau. It must be replaced with something else, something that is just as absorbing. Therefore, love will now be a soul-saving experience. How did Rousseau get to this? His childhood, as he describes, to fall on my knees before the masterful mistress, to obey her commands, to have to beg for her forgiveness, have been to me the most delicate of pleasures. Thus, in love, he is entirely passive. Woman must make the first move. Paglia says Rousseau ends the sexual scheme of the great chain of being, where male was sovereign over female. Rousseau feminizes the European male persona and gives the ideal man a woman-like sensitivity. Ever since Rousseau, the culture has become increasingly romanticized. Music revolves around love. The highest grossing movies are romantic epics like Gone with the Wind and Titanic, where the ship sinking provides merely a backdrop for the priority of the movie, the romance. Hyped romanticism has ravaged religions, priests becoming servants of love rather than pursuers of and warriors of wisdom and truth. And then they wonder why the pews are filled with women. Politicians speak of how much love they have to strive to make themselves lovable. Romanticism has gone berserk. Going back to what he's talking about, the Titanic. I saw a clip and I never really thought about this before, but pretty much every major love story you see out there, it's about cheating. It's about how this one lady's not satisfied in her current relationship and she's got to go out and she finds real love, right? So Rose on the Titanic, she's got her fiance and she finds real love with the poor stowaway guy. You know what I mean? And then ends up cheating on her boyfriend. What a love story, guys. Isn't that romantic? Isn't that romantic? And then she lets Jack die to cover up the evidence. And then she's alpha widowed for the rest of the movie until she's 80 years old. Isn't romanticism awesome? Anyway. Before we continue here, we have a super chat from brother Nathan, $2. Get in Beer Club. Yes, do get in Beer Club.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yes, he definitely does. Nurse Chick's in the house. Good morning, chat. Let's fucking go. Monday. We're past the 8-minute mark. We can say that. Let's say push day for me. Legs will be Wednesday. Fine. Very well. Actually, it's chest and triceps for me today. Yes. Paul's alive. He did not find a bear. There are bears up there on the Grand Mesa. One time I went hiking up there with my dog, and there was a bear cub on the trail, and I go, oh shit. And my dog at that time, she's way too old to do this now, but at that time she was a mighty huntress, and she chased after any animal she saw. And I see this cub, I'm like, oh shit. If you see a bear cub, mama's not too far away. And I was like, oh Christ, if she goes after that cub, she's dead. Mama bear's gonna come out and kill my dog. So I grabbed my dog. It just made sure she didn't see, and it let let the baby bear get off the trail, and I was like, all right. And I had to sort of hold my dog there because I don't like to put her on a leash when I'm out in the, the wild like that. And so I had to hold her by her collar there and sort of usher her through this area where the bear was. Anyway, there are bears up there. Yes. Let's see here. Donger's in the house. Let's fucking go. Omega's in the house. What's up, Doc? And then, hey, Ryan, what's going on, man? Good to see you in the chat. Okay. All right. So the next section here is the infection. Before we get to that, though, let's go ahead and do some more housekeeping. I don't have show notes, so I'm winging it. All right. Housekeeping. Guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list. They'll send you a bunch of free stuff, including some stickers. If you don't want stickers, just put don't want stickers in the address field. But you get 20 dating app openers that are guaranteed to capture a woman's attention in the first 7 words. You also get a free copy of my book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, which is available in paperback, hardcover, Kindle, and Audible. If you guys have an Audible subscription, consider listening to it with your next credit. If you guys have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, get it with your next credit, okay? And then, guys, what I've been pushing lately is my new mini course. And I say mini because it's a real short course, right? It's like 35 minutes long. The course is less than $30. But we in the space often talk about getting in shape, right? Getting in shape and how important it is, going to the gym. And I used to be a fat bastard. And you'll find that being a fat bastard really impacts your relationships. It impacts your dating life. It impacts all that kind of stuff because it turns out that women really do care about looks a little bit. Okay. So it helps you, especially with your confidence, to be in better shape. And thank God I'm in as good a shape as I am. And I was able to walk 15 fucking miles yesterday. Although I did it to myself, but I was able to do that, right? I couldn't do that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was too fat to walk that far, right? But now I can do that. I can do that sort of thing. And like I'm fine this morning, right? Like some people would do that and they would be absolutely wrecked for the rest of the week. Like I got up this morning, my legs are a little bit stiff. I'm gonna go running today because I'm in shape. Okay. If you want to get there, check out the course. All right. It's less than $30. I'm going to play a commercial for that. And then we'll get back to Pook. Okay.
Tired of complicated diets and time-consuming workouts? Does your busy schedule leave no room for the gym? You're not alone. Thousands of men struggle with the same problem. The frustration of not seeing results can be overwhelming. But what if I told you there's an easier way? Introducing the Basic Diet and Fitness Mini Course, your no-nonsense guide to getting fit. Learn the only 4 exercises you need and master the secret of effortless weight loss with the calories in, calories out method. It's time to break free from the cycle of failure. Start your journey to a healthier, stronger you today. Sign up for the Basic Diet and Fitness Mini Course now, because every man deserves to feel confident and fit. Transform your life, one simple step at a time.
Visit fit.comeonmanpod.com and sign up today. No more excuses. No more excuses. Young Villain says, can you bring Eric Everhart back, please? Sure. Yeah. I'm probably bringing him back. So he has a new book called The Tao of Eating Pussy. And he sent me an early copy of it. The thing is, like right now he's shopping for publishers to distribute it. Right. And if he was saying like he's got it out with a publisher in England, and if they decline it, then he's just going to self-publish. So I'll probably have him back on whenever he gets that done. That doesn't seem to be a high priority for him though. But I'll tell you what, Omega says January 7th was a legendary day with Eric. Yeah, that's because he came into our beer club and gave us a free lecture, which if you join beer club, it's pinned at the top of the chat. You know, he gave us a free lecture on how to do the sex better. But Eric's a good dude. He and I chat periodically. He's a busy guy though. All right. The infection. Many women march on through their life stuffed with dreams of hyped up romanticism. They are filled to the brim with excessive expectations. The high rate of divorce is not due to some moral collapse. It is due to this bizarre and absurd religion of romance. In many ways, romance is the female religion. Anniversary dates are their religious festivals. The bed becomes their altar, and sex becomes the holy sacrament. Isn't that true? Which is funny, right? Because men are the romanticists, right? And I think we do it because we think that women like it, right? But women are really pragmatists disguised as romanticists, right? They're in the relationship for what they can get out of it, for how you make them feel and what they can get out of it, and for what you are, not who you are. That's what Jack Napier said that the other day, and I thought that was pretty spot on. And so all these guys do all this stuff, and women sort of now expect it, right? They expect to be put on a pedestal and have all this stuff done to them, but that's not what turns them on. And when you find out that, hey, you don't have to do any of this stuff to get chicks to like you, to get chicks in bed, like you don't have to do any of this kind of stuff, right? I am not a fan. I am not a fan of like Valentine's Day. I think Valentine's Day is such a scam. It really is. But I'll tell you what, on Valentine's Day, like nurse chick, she cooked me dinner, right? Like she did nice things for me. You know what I mean? You could get to a place where your girl's doing nice things for you on those days, right? But you gotta get rid of this romanticism shit. It doesn't serve you, Anyway, he goes, for fun, I told the women, be a Skittles man. Okay. Be a Skittles man. I think I've done that one. That's a Royce article. Be a Skittles man. Anyway, for fun, I told the women, romance, true love, none of it exists. And the women, non-surprisingly, protested bitterly. But one thing that puzzled me was this one woman who told the Pook, I'm never going to get married. Seems so boring. I thought she would agree with this idea of romance not existing, which I do not think does exist, which I do think does exist, but is misapplied to the point of absurdity. He goes, yet she was one of the biggest protesters of it. I figured almost all young women wanted to get married, at least sometime. This one didn't, yet was the biggest believer in romance. A contradiction? Perhaps. In any age past, her life would be scorned at. In this hyper-romanticism, what he says, it is this hyper-romanticism at work. Without this romance, there would be no license for her lifelong romance outside of marriage. It is well known that if you get the women to think that you love them, she is well more likely to sleep with you. All the gifts and dates that the AFC gives, God bless. Hold on, guys. All the gifts and dates the AFC gives to get his sex are not some form of neo-prostitution. It is merely the exercise of this hyped up romanticism. This explains why women who have no desire for marriage will be the biggest believers in romance. Their religion of romance grants license and prettifies their sometimes dangerous and reckless behavior. The inflammation. Love, love, love. It is nature's drug, a high that so many become addicted to and must always be feeling love at some part in their lives. A nice guy appears to protest this post. So this is one of the things I love about Pook, right? Like he conjures things up, like he does this, like guys just magically appear out of nowhere. In this post, some random nice guy shows up to protest the article. Ignore him, gentlemen. Women following this romanticized path means that the chase becomes the focus rather than the company of the lover. No wonder challenge works so well. No wonder once a woman gets what she wants, she goes looking for something else. Isn't that true? Right? Like a lot of guys like wear their hearts on their sleeves and they're very open with women at first. And if you're like super open with women and you tell them everything they want to, everything you think they want to hear and everything like that, everything about yourself, they get bored easily and move on. And you're like, what the hell happened? Right? I thought we had a connection here. It's because women like the mystery. They like living in a love story, and they want the love story to unfold naturally. And they want to figure you out using nothing but their feminine intuition. If you give everything away too early, they get bored and they leave. So you can't do that. Can't do that. Anywho. Oh, did I say the whole book? Nurse Chick, did I say the whole book when I said if you sign up for the email list, you get I thought I said a free chapter. Anyway, whatever. Nuke says, when you want to spoil a woman, remember that a man got her for free. Yep. That is true. That is true. It's not to say that you can't do nice things for a chick, but I recommend that guys make chicks earn the nice stuff. You know what I mean? She got to earn it. Anyway. Let's see here. Oh, so that's what he said. So a nice guy appears to protest this post, and Pook told the readers, ignore him. The more a man is challenged, the more a man is a challenge, the more a woman becomes romanticized. This is especially true for beautiful women. The curse of beauty, and even that of a Don Juan's, is that you fear you are settling when you could have gotten better. When a guy is a challenge to the beautiful woman, and let's face it, these beautiful women have flocks of guys trying to be romantic towards them in the AFC sense, it sparks the woman's romanticism. She must have her challenge and eat it too. Which is why it's funny when all these guys are being romantic and they're showering her flowers and chocolates and telling her how gorgeous, beautiful you see it in the comments, right? Of any relatively good-looking chick on social media. She usually has a flock of simps in the comments, or AFCs. And they're just showering these chicks with comments. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. Everyone's doing that. So when you don't do that, you actually stand out, because most of these other guys are doing that and you're not. And now she's going, wait a second, what's up with this guy? And now she has her challenge. You see? The nice guy yells out, Pook, there is a matter we must discuss. Go to your platonic girlfriends and talk about your love, nice guy. Now, where were we? We know of the romanticism that nice guys embrace, for the definition of an AFC is a man who loves like a woman. But Don Juan suffer from the romanticism as well. This website has made me so picky. The problem is not pickiness, but idealism. Just like beautiful women, Don Juans feel that they are settling if they get a chick. Remember your nice guy days when you only wanted a good, decent woman to love you? Now you want Helen of Troy. How far have we come? You see that in the space a lot, right? Guys that they can't allow themselves to get into any kind of relationship because they're like, I could do better. I could do better. I could do better. You're basically acting like a chick with hypergamy, right? Anyway, the nice guy hops up on the Arcadian stage. No more, Monsieur Pook. We must talk. Very well, Mr. Nice Guy. What is this business that you must interrupt my post for? I think you know it, Pook. You insulted my girl in the park last night. You are mistaken, sir. I made love to your girl in the park last night. She asked me to meet her there. I have her note somewhere. But if someone is saying something to the contrary, by God, it is a slander. You damned Pook. You would drag down a woman's reputation to hide your cowardice, but I am calling you out. You're calling me out? Then take lessons from your girl, as she too called me out. You libertine! The nice guy takes out a white glove and slaps Pook. I demand satisfaction. So Pook banged this imaginary guy's girlfriend in the park last night, and now the guy is defending Milady's honor. This reminds me of anytime I make any kind of somewhat, unflattering post about women on social media, and then some nice guy shows up in the comments to defend some random lady's honor. and calls me a misogynist. There's nothing worse than a dude calling other dudes a misogynist. Get out of here. You're being GHEY. Anyway, you demand satisfaction, but your girl also demanded satisfaction. Wink again. I cannot spend my time satisfying the demands of your circle. You blackguard. I assure you, Mr. Nice Guy, that your girl is the epitome of her sex. In fact, her chief renown is for a readiness that keeps her in a state of tropical humidity, as would grow orchards in her drawers in January. Your assault against me is not for my faults, but your own. You have no morals. That is not true. You are the immoral one, thinking yourself a sexual Pharisee. We are called to be humans, not statues. The Cancer. And so floats the nice guy with his hot air romanticism. When he sees this woman going for the guise of testosterone, jerks, and running to the hills to avoid his nonsense, he pops, right? So that is a harken back to the original beginning of the article where he talks about how guys float through the air, right? They're on balloons, apparently. So he pops. But what of the Don Juans racing to obtain their ideal woman? After a decade or two, this is the result. And he sends a link to an old post here. Noticing their lost youth, what are these guys to do? And what about the guys who do get their idealism? Many of these guys marry absolutely gorgeous women, but gorgeous women are a standard lay. The idealism doesn't last and the divorce follows. With love being defined as the pursuit of the lover rather than the company of the lover, no wonder divorces are widespread. Rousseau is best known for his civilization of consent. Thus, marriage to people now is not some sacred bond, but a legal article of consent, something to be torn asunder whenever wished. And anyone who are aware of marriages that last know that romanticism has nothing to do with it. Marriage requires work. Go to an older married couple and spew out your romanticism and the one love to them and watch them laugh. Isn't that true? Romeo and Juliet. Women flock to Romeo and Juliet to watch the star-crossed lovers defy society, yet romanticism is exactly what the play condemns. Romeo was in love with Rosalind, but when Juliet appears, any thoughts of Rosalind are long gone. Romeo is Don Juanish at first. He keynotes her, he kisses her, and he leaves her. So where is the tragedy? Because their love was denied, chant the women. I'm sorry, ladies. The truth is that Romeo is a whiny boy. Romeo and Juliet would have turned into a sweet Much Ado About Nothing if Romeo had the spine of Claudio. It is Romeo's lack of being a man that causes the tragedy in the play. That is a total tragedy, right? It's not a love story. It's a tragedy, right? Because these two, they fall in love. Family members get killed because of their them sneaking around. And then one guy thinks that, oh, she's really dead. Let me kill myself. And then she's not really dead. And so he kills himself because he's not smart and he's in love. And then she kills herself. Like, just, it's terrible. It's a terrible story. I'm sorry, ladies. The truth is that Romeo is a whitey boy. Oh, yeah, we told you that. Pook, you exaggerate Shakespeare to fit your meaning. But look at what Shakespeare says. Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead, stabbed with a white wench's black eye, shot through the ear with a love song, the very pin of his heart cleft with the blind bow boy's butt shaft, and he is a man to encounter Tybalt. Already dead, and they question whether he can approach his enemy Tybalt. Even the nurse condemns Romeo. Blubbering and weeping, weeping and blubbering. Stand up, stand up, stand, and you be a man for Juliet's sake, and for her sake, rise and stand. Romeo is so distraught that he wants to unalive himself. Witnesses the friar's reaction to his attempted suicide. Hold thy desperate hand. Art thou a man? Thy form cries out of thou art. Thy tears are womanish. Thy wild act denote. The unreasonable fury of a beast, unseemingly woman in a seeming man. The tragedy in Romeo and Juliet is not love denied. It is Romeo refusing to be a man. He offs himself and his chance, and so kills Juliet. Like, yeah, like, man, you see this a lot too, right? Guys, when girls dump them and stuff like that, and they get zeroed out and they're crying and they can't console themselves. They're acting like a woman, and it's because of this romanticism shit, right? That's one of the things I really appreciate about this space is it's taught me to be lovingly detached, you know, like a healthy detachment in a relationship, so you can look at things for what they are and have more of a rational understanding of how the relationship's progressing. You can better understand your woman's attraction level to you, so you can navigate things accordingly. You know, you don't react emotionally to things that your girl does. You know, you see it for what it is, right? Like a lot of times it's shit tests, and so you're like, you don't react emotionally to this kind of stuff because it's funny. You know what I mean? And that's one of the best things about this space. It teaches you to navigate relationships in a more healthy way, right? Where instead of blind romanticism that clouds your judgment, right? All right. Man, a lot of guys are chatting here. Let's see. Mike says, Money Monday, guys. That's right. Donovan and I have a rule. Flowers are for wives. Wives. Let's see. Duke says, when you want to spoil a woman, remember that a man got... Oh, yeah, we already said that one. Let's see here. LOL. Sounds like that story that Jack Napier told and challenged him to a fight, and the dude chickened out. Oh, yeah. Omega says, I've been dropping she's not going to sleep with you, bro, in response to guys' comments you see in social media. Yeah, it's funny to see their reaction too, right? To that. I hope she sees this as better. Completely hit on the fact she won't even read it fully. Yeah. Romeo and Juliet are literally teenagers. They are not a good example for love. LOL, the priest calling Romeo a little biatch. Yeah, he was too. Okay. Where are we at here? The Cure. Have you ever seen a very traditional Jewish wedding? The man and woman have never talked to each other. They do not even know if they like each other, yet they marry and stay married for life. Pook, that's because they can't divorce. True, but by conventional romanticism, shouldn't the marriage eventually blow up? Yet they are happy. The point is that romanticism has no value in creating a lasting marriage. George Bernard Shaw says that marriage is like tying two people in a ship together. It doesn't matter who you are tied up to. You will make the person a lifelong partner. Comradeship makes marriages last, not romanticism. You know, that reminds me too. If you guys read Dating Essentials for Men, right, which was one of my holy trinity of books, one of the things that Dr. Glover starts off with is that modern dating for love relationships is relatively new in human history. Like mostly up until, you know, not too long ago, a couple hundred years ago, maybe, was probably where this Rousseau guy started, right? Everything was arranged. You know, marriages were arranged. They were sort of done as almost like a business deal. You know what I mean? And so this whole thing of marrying for love is just not natural to us humans from an evolutionary perspective, because that's just not how things were done. And so now we're trying to make something work, and but we're always constantly chasing this romanticism. So women especially are never happy, because a lot of times the romanticism dies. You know what I mean? Like I did a video about this a couple of weeks ago where it was about catching your girl cheating, right? And I was breaking down this guy's video talking about how every girl he's been with has cheated on him. And so he shows how he catches them cheating. And I'm like, and he talks about how the reason why is because women in the early stages of relationship love that validation, that romantic validation. And eventually most guys quit doing it because it gets old after a while and things start becoming routine and you start getting complacent. And that's what happens to a vast majority of people. You get complacent in a relationship. And so that sort of thing does die. And so women still want that because they think that they have this romantic idealism of he's supposed to be chasing me forever. And the guys stop doing that. So then they get bored and they go and they get that from their work husband, right? And or some guy who's hitting them up on the DMs, right? And so one thing I say, like, okay, if we're in a modern era of romanticism and you want to keep an LTR going as long as possible, you just can't get complacent. Like, that's just how you navigate the modern culture of dating and relationships. You can't get complacent. You have to constantly date your girl. If that sounds like too much work, don't get into an LTR. Okay. Like, but if you want to make that LTR work, like, you're going to have to put some work in. It is work, you know? Anyway, war veterans despise the war they are stuck in, but if asked to leave the battlefield, they will not because of their comrades. The hellish environment created bonds between these men that last throughout their lifetime. Lasting marriages also contains this comradeship. The couple goes through this hurricane of life, and by overcoming the difficulties thrown at them, it makes their bond cemented even more. So love is not weddings and flowers. Real love is deep financial problems or a sick child. But don't take my word for it. Bruckner, the essence of romantic love is that wonderful beginning, after which sadness and impossibility may become the rule. Crowley, I don't know who any of these guys are, by the way. Crowley, love stories are only fit for the solace of people in the insanity of puberty. No healthy adult human being can really care whether so and so does and does not succeed in satisfying his psychological uneasiness by the aid of some particular person or not. Jones, romance is like the rabbit at the dog track, is the elusive, fake, and never attained reward which, for the benefit and amusement of our masters, keeps us running and thinking in safe circles. Romanticism, farewell, and the oneism, adieu. Give me the love songs of ages past. Give me Don Juan. Give me Madame Venus. Give me elopement by ladder and rope on a moonlight. And let the neighbors stare and adore, for their lives are measured by proprietary and yardsticks. Yet the rabbit runs its course, and we have stopped running in circles, chasing the rabbit, romance, on and on. And by doing so, the circle breaks. We are finally free. What do you guys think about that one? That one's an interesting one. It really does get you thinking, though, right? How this concept of romanticism is fake. It's not even real, right? It's not even real. It's a fantasy. And you can't live your whole life in this fake fantasy, right? But you can't, that isn't to say you can't have healthy relationships, though. I think guys that think that are a little too jaded. You know what I mean? Anyways, Mike says marriage started as a means of asset management. Yes, children are assets. They're also liabilities. Oh man, guys, join the beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of dudes. It's a very active Telegram community. The guys are in there, swapping notes all the time. One of the guys, inspired by Friday's episode on gratitude practice, created a beer club gratitude practice group, which is pretty cool. And so he created this group, and he invited all the guys in beer club to join if they wanted to. And not everybody joined, which is fine, but we did have a good group of guys, good amount of guys in there. And now that group is pretty busy. And so far, everyone in there is just talking about things they're grateful for. It's like grateful for small stuff. Like I'm grateful for coffee, right? A gratitude practice is really good for your mindset. And so the guys in there are doing that now. That's also available now if you join Beer Club. And the guys' coaching's available too. If you want to work with me directly, go to coaching.comeonmanpod.com to book a free call and see if working with me might be right for you. All right. We're going to get to the last one here. This one's a little bit shorter. This is a good message for guys. This is called Let Yourself Fail. A lot of guys, they look at failure wrong, right? I don't like the concept of winning and losing. I like the concept of winning and learning. You know, not everything works out, but you can learn from things that don't work out. You know what I mean? And so you can look at the same thing as failing too, right? Going out, trying openers on chicks and seeing what lands and what doesn't, right? Getting the girl's number or don't. It doesn't matter. If you don't, you can't look at it like failure. Look at it like, okay, I've got to reevaluate here, right? That's why I often like to tell guys when you're going out dating, treat it like a science experiment. You know, that way you stay detached from the outcome, and you just look at it like you're just collecting data. Does this work or not? Is what Paul talks about on the podcast, does it work or not? You know, if it doesn't, let me try something else. There's we have a whole bunch of guys on Rule Zero. They all have good advice. Nuke was in the chat. I don't know if he's still in there. Nuke's got excellent advice. Maybe try something Nuke says, right? All this stuff's a science experiment. So it's okay to go out and let yourself fail every now and then, right? Because you learn from it. It's one of the best teachers. So let's read this article. The reason why you are here at this website, improving in ways you never dreamed possible before in your life, was because you failed at achieving what you wanted with women. Listen to yourself before you came to this website. Oh, how I have failed with the ladies. If only I knew what to do. If only I knew the secrets of attraction, love, and women. And so here you are gobbling up more information than ever. And this is good. But do you allow yourself to fail, or do you go search on posts on exactly how you should act on a date? Do you try to push your comfort zone, or do you read pages of seduction material for the, what does he have? 435,473rd time? This is what, like, one of the things that we talk about in the space too, right? Because I'm a Corey Wayne guy. I've read his book, 21 times. I read it like once a year now. And Corey says in his book, read my book 10 to 15 times if you want to retain the information. But the thing is about that, there's guys I know that will not go out and talk to women until they've read the book 10 to 15 times. They're like, okay, I'm going to just work on me. I'm going to work on my muscles. I'm going to work on my money. I'm going to read this book. And then I'm going to go talk to chicks after I've read this book 15 times. It's like, no, man, like you need to, as you're reading the book, go out and practice this stuff, right? You need to actually go out and touch grass, as they say. Otherwise, it's just theory. All this shit is just theory unless you go out and try it out, right? And the thing is as you're reading this stuff and you go and test it out, you're going to see stuff that applies to you. You're going to have experience with it. And now some of the material is going to make more sense to you. You're like, oh, I tried that. And this is exactly what happened. This makes more sense. It's going to cement in your brain more, right? But most guys won't do that. They'll sit there and they're like, okay, I just need the perfect formula. I just need the perfect pickup line. I just need the perfect touching move. I don't know, like whatever is what they consider perfect in their minds before they go out and talk to women. And then they end up just mentally masturbating. You eventually have to go out and try some of this shit out and try and fail. Some of this shit, it's not going to work. Some of it's not. Some shit that worked for me is not going to work for you. That's just a fact. Okay. One thing that I learned too in the space is that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And, I used to be in the mindset when I first started this, that there was only one way. There's only one way of doing it. And then I talked to hundreds of dating coaches and shit now, and a lot of them have different ways. A lot of them swear by this method. Social circles, the only way, right? Facebook games, the only way. Dating apps is the only way. Cold approach is the only way. It's like, no, it all works. It all fucking works. You just got to find what works for you by testing it out, right? Okay. Failure is a necessary component of growth. Let yourself fail. Not all the time. You are not the nice guy who crashes and burns without a clue and does it again and again and again. Don Juans are made by failing, not by succeeding. When you fail, you have information sent back on things that can be worked on. Are you too scrawny? Do you have fun on dates? Or he says, do you not have fun dates? Is your personality the problem? Do you let yourself have fun? Are you scared of sex? What is it? A failure can help you more than reading every damn post on this board. Failure will aid you much more than the whole of the DJ Bible. Going into Don Juan is not a light switch. You do not stuff this information in your head and become a drone of the ideas here. You need to fail. You must fail. You will always learn more by failing because it won't be hypothetical. You won't be having fantasies of you being a blazing Don Juan and going from girl to girl. No, you will be out there, which is where you learn everything, and you will fail. This failure points out where you need to improve, right? This is one of the reasons why, if you're in a group like Beer Club, it's important to go out and then come back with your date updates, right? Because if you report back on what you did well and what you did wrong, you actually help cement that in your brain, and it also gives you more clarity on what you need to work on. You know, that's why date updates is important, and it's important to be honest with yourself. In the old 3% man group, the 3% brotherhood's there, right? That's the new group on Facebook, but like no one ever fucking chats in there. In the old group, it used to be very active, and guys would post date updates and be honest with themselves. Some of them would. Other guys would just go on there and just brag about how they're fucking awesome and how they're 3% men and how everything's effortless and how great I am and whatever. That doesn't do you any good either, right? Just going in there and just talking about all your awesome shit and bragging isn't going to help you either. Being honest with yourself and talk and sort of being aware of the things you need to improve on, that's going to help you. Okay. But Pook, if I fail, I will lose the girl. For every love that dies, a new one is born. It is the law of nature. Keep the focus on you. So what if you lose the girl? Another girl will quickly take her place. If you wait on the first girl, you will be worse off when you meet that second girl. Fail now. That reminds me. So I often say there's 4 billion women on the planet, right? Some fucking asshat on TikTok was like, oh, so you're saying that you could get 4 billion women on the planet? I'm assuming that some of those 4 billion women are underage. Is that what you're saying? Like, I'm like, Jesus fuck. Like, guys, it's just an example. You know what I mean? Like, don't read too far into it. Some guys are so spurgy and black and white. The guy was just being a troll. Ended up just like, I'm not getting into this with you, man. Anyway, there's always another woman. Okay. That's an easier way to say it. There's always another woman. So fail now. But Pook, I remember the pain before. I am learning this information, so I will not enter that pain again. Let me tell you what is more painful. It is getting trapped in a torturous cycle of devouring more and more information with no action. In this case, the nice guy is more admirable than you because at least the nice guy allows himself to fail. You never let yourself fail, so you will never grow. But Pook, isn't the point of the information to avoid failure? This is the number one common mistake that makes longtime regulars here stuck in their cycle. They think the information is going to remove failure. That is not the point. Just as in order for your muscles to grow, you must let them fail and fill the void with protein, sleep, etc. So too in order to grow, not in your mental self, but in your real self out there. You must let yourself fail. And if you do fail, fill in the void with information and feedback here. But Pook, why should I intend to fail? I could just see, like Pook's writing this out, but these are the types of questions that people ask, right? But Pook, why should I intend to fail? The point is not to intend to fail. It is to let yourself fail. If you fail with a girl, it is an opportunity that you missed about yourself. Let us repeat it again. Failure is an opportunity. After all, risk is the key to self-improvement. The number 2 common mistake here is people think they are not allowed to fail. because of this information they have soaked up. In other words, if they failed, they really aren't Don Juans. Let me tell you something. Don Juans are not made on message boards. They are made out there. Whatever happens to you out there, no matter how bad it is, come back here and we will help you. You are beyond your nice guy days. Yeah, you see it a lot too with coaching and just working with guys in general over the years and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys that they just won't let themselves fail, right? Because they're afraid of that pain, they're afraid of that rejection, whatever. So it's like you've got to detach from that somehow, right? And there's different ways you can do that. One guy I'm working with, he's really good at like level 1 and 2 testing. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. Really good at level 1 and 2 testing, which if you read my book or if you read Dr. Robert Glover's Dating Essentials for Men, you know that when you talk to women, it's basically testing for interest, right? So level 1 and 2 is basically opening and just talking, right? Just having a normal conversation. Level 3 is where you require something of her. Give me your number. Hey, you got an extra hour? I'm just getting ready to go get some coffee. You want to come get some coffee with me? You're requiring something of her, right? Usually it's asking for a date or a number. And my man just couldn't get to that place because he was afraid of rejection. So he would just end the conversation before ever asking a chick for a number and stuff like that. And so I said, okay, fine, fuck it. For the next month, I want you to go out, because he goes out like 3 or 4 times a week. I'm like, when you go out, I want you to get 3 rejections just by skipping to level 3 testing. Forget level 1 and 2. Just walk up and say, hey, you seem like a cool person. Can I get your number? Just do that. The goal is to get rejected. It's not to get the number. I want you to go out and get 3 rejections a day, right? For a month, just to get over that kind of shit, right? Let yourself fail. Where are we? Let me tell you something. Don Juans are not made on message boards. They're made out there. Okay, we said that. But flaws can only be removed by confronting them, never by masking them. But Pook, I did what you said. I had great success. I was hoping I would fail so I could improve, but damn it, I succeeded beyond my wildest expectations. I was looking forward to failing so I can improve, but the hot chick accepted my advances and dates. How could she do that? Now you see the point of it all. Even though there are tons of posts that say not to fear rejection or that she is missing out on you, you still are scared of failing. Failure is actually a good thing since it helps you grow. It is good to imagine success, but do not fear failure. Embrace it like the gift it is, since it allows you to grow. For if you don't fail now, you will fail later on. Get over it. Or he says, get it over with. It is a win-win situation. So go out there and let yourself fail. And then he quotes this guy, Page. Personally, I consider the situation where you attempt to do something but do not meet your goal as a sort of delayed success. Delayed success is sort of like a stepping stone in the original goal, or stepping stone to the original goal. After you fall short enough times, you'll have learned what mistakes to avoid in the future, and sooner or later you will get it right. Okay, we're almost done here. How I came to the site was because I failed badly with women I wanted. Looking back through my Pook years, I see that the times I failed was when I got my head snapped on straight and truly changed. Turning a failure with a woman to make it a learning experience, just one bump along the long road of success, sounds good in seminars and all, but you've got to risk. You've got to roll your dice. You guys have heard the expression, no risk, no reward, right? Or nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? David Cotton Farmer says 1,000 ways not to invent a light bulb. Yeah, that's what Edison said, right? When people were like, you failed, I think it was 10,000 times. You failed 10,000 times to make your light bulb. Like, why didn't you give up? And he's like, because I learned 10,000 ways not to invent a light bulb. He learned from every attempt, right? Let's see here. Nice guys are nice because they don't want to fail. Why else do nice guys listen to womanly advice? Why else do nice guys give chocolate, flowers, poetry, etc. to the woman? They certainly don't do it out of a spirit of love, though many do, these infatuated chumps. Many do it because they think it is the routine and they don't want to fail. They want to play it safe. May I kiss you? The nice guy asks. He doesn't want to make her uncomfortable. If this nice guy risked failing, he would just kiss her and go for it. He could be slapped, or she could say, thank God, I thought he was G-H-E-Y. And all is good. See, that's one of the things too, like people hate when I say it online, but I'm like, don't ask for consent. Just go for a kiss. Don't ask her, may I kiss you? That's a very passive and unattractive thing to do. And even though like women say, I want, you've got to ask for consent. That's not what they really want in the moment, right? They really want you to be perceptive and understand body language, right? If you go in for a kiss and she turns her head this way, that means she's not interested. Like, don't get mad about it. Just be like, all right. She's not interested, right? If you go to touch her naughty parts and she slaps your hand away, okay, just back off a little bit, like that's her not giving you consent, right? If you touch her naughty parts and she gets all hot and heavy about it and starts touching your naughty parts, consent, okay? That's that's consent, bro. All right. People hate that in this modern Me Too era, though. But that's nature. Okay. Some here still act like those nice guys with the only difference is that they listen to men instead. Some here still act like those nice guys with the only difference is that they listen to men instead. You've got to sprinkle risk in your life. As Anti-Dump said, you do want to protect your heart, but some are so scared of failing that they literally cocoon their life. To the loners, you know who you are. You don't think you are good enough, have the right things, do the right things, etc. to get a woman into your life, but you do. You loners aim at your comfortable world, but do so at sacrificing long-term happiness. Let a woman into your life. You'll probably enrich her life more than you think, and she will definitely enrich yours. To the shy guys, you know who you are. You are worried what others might say, what she might think, what everyone might say. But the truth is that you could walk in front of a bus and you'd be forgotten in a day. No one is going to care that you lusted after a chick. Even chicks forget. Go for it. Yield to your desire for once. To the addicted to so suave crowd, you know who you are. You read more and more and more and more and more information, yet there you sit in front of your computer. The information you see is a novelty, something new for you to think about. But once you go out and fail with the ladies, all the information literally changes. Rather than being a novelty to think about, like some new philosophy to adopt, it becomes addendums to your battle plan. You exit the world of theory and go out there. Since that is where the chicks are. Only feminists reside in the world of theory, and you don't want those anyway. Everyone came to this site with problems. This site corrected many of them. Alas, the site also created a few new problems. One of them is that guys are scared to fail, especially with all this information around. They think that with this information that they won't fail. It is fun to fail, and it is the zeal of life. Let yourself fail. Also, failure is the only way to trigger metamorphosis. And he quotes something here. He goes, you can keep on trying to do something, and although you may not make it the first few times, you have failed only when you hit the dirt and refuse to get back up and try again. Only by failing can you succeed. Dawn wanting is like a dance. You can learn all the steps, but unless you go out and trip yourself or step on her a couple of times, you will never, ever dance. Some guys are so scared of failing that they memorize how they should act and so on. Whereas me, whereas me have one thought going on in their head. Wee. Some men see women and cry, why? But I approach women and say, why not? All right. That was Let Yourself Fail by Pook, guys. I hope you guys like that. Hope hope you guys get some information out of that and get something to think about, right? Especially you guys who are afraid to go out and talk to women, right? Pook is giving you permission to go out and fail, right? You have permission. Go do it, right? Yeah, Mike says when she tears your clothes off, that's consent. Yes. You can't mistake it. You can't mistake it, right? One thing I learned, one of the things I learned from Corey Wayne's book is what he calls 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? You're making out, you're on the couch, maybe you're touching her upper thigh, and you slowly, bring your hand up and stuff like that. You go to touch her breast, she slaps your hand away. Okay. Continue making out for a little bit and then back off for a little bit and then have your conversation. Hey, can I get you another drink? Anything like that, but do not get butt hurt by it, right? And then try again a little bit later, right? Because a lot of times that they call that ASD, right? Anti-salute defense. Chicks want to know that you'll stop when asked. So as long as you show that you'll stop when asked, they're like, okay, I feel safe now. Let's go. Women are funny. All right, guys, that's all I have for this episode. Tune into the podcast Wednesday. For you guys that tune in for the Get the Girl episodes and you guys don't like the esoteric woo-woo stuff, you might not like this episode, but I've been doing a lot of studying lately on some esoteric mumbo jumbo woo-woo stuff, and I'm just into it, right? And so one of the things that I ran across was, and I've mentioned it in a couple of episodes now, is this book called the Kybalion, and it's got the 7 hermetic principles of the universe. Well, then the New Thought movement has 12 universal laws, and I'm like, okay, where do the 12 universal laws fit in with the 7 hermetic principles, right? Because the hermetic principles, that's another thing too, is some of the hermetic principles in the Kybalion aren't actually hermetic principles, and I just went through and I read the Hermetica and I read the Corpus Hermeticum to sort of compare and contrast, because I'm a nerd. Okay. I like learning new stuff. I like learning weird stuff. And I found that most of those actually do fall into the Hermetica or the Corpus Hermeticum, at least in some way. They're not specifically spelled out, but if you ever read Hermetic text, nothing's completely spelled out. You know what I mean? It's all, a lot of it's written in conversation. If you read the Corpus Hermeticum, everything is written as a conversation, either between Hermes and someone else or Hermes and God, right? It's all conversational. So nothing's completely spelled out. So what's awesome about the Kybalion is that they sort of distilled that down into principles based on what, they got out of it. Plus they sprinkled in some new thought stuff. And then I read the Hermetica, the lost wisdom of the pharaohs, which is a modern translation of the Hermetica. They take all the conversational stuff out of it and they just put it into simple terms. If you read that one, a lot of the Kybalion makes more sense too, right? Anyway, so I'm all about the universal laws, right? How does the universe work? How does the universe work? It's one of the things I like learning about quantum theory and stuff too, because that really gets into how the nuts and bolts work, right? How the gears are grinded. So anyway, I read the Kybalion and I read the 12 universal laws, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a show that compares and contrasts the two. If you guys tune in, awesome. If you guys don't, I get it. Usually those esoteric episodes get less views, but I like what I like. So I'm going to do what I do. All right. Okay, guys. So yeah, tune into the podcast. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks for everyone that sounded off in the comment section. I appreciate it. It's fun interacting with you guys. Thanks for I think I only got one super chat, but that's fine. Thanks for the super chat. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list. I'll send you a bunch of free stuff, including a free chapter of my book, Everything I Wish I Knew Was 18, which is available on Amazon and Audible. Guys, check out the fitness course. It's less than $30 if you are a fat bastard and every diet you've tried has failed. You don't know where to begin when it comes to hitting the gym and working out. I make it so simple for you. Okay. I show you how to work out your entire body without needing any equipment. Okay. And then the only equipment I really recommend is a pull-up bar, but even that, I show you how you can go to the local park and do pull-ups on like monkey bars and stuff. Right. Join the beer club. It's a good group of dudes. You can swap some notes. You can go out and fail and come back and swap some notes about what you learned from it. That'll help you grow. And then, guys, coaching's available if you go to coaching.comeonmanpod.com. That's all I got. We will see you guys on Wednesday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. New full episodes served hot every Monday morning on your favorite podcast platform of choice. So subscribe now. Follow Paul on social media. The links are in the description. Now, go out and get it.